So when you do the n sound, you're getting air into your sinuses, and then would put air in here. So basically it's N, M. Mouthfill is the technique that we use for going deeper than residual volume. So residual volume is the volume that we achieve when we can no longer get air out of the lungs. So it depends on how flexible you are, but usually that is around 30 to 40 meters. So as you go down, there is more pressure from the water and the volume of your lungs gets smaller. So at 10 meters, you have already 2 bar, which is double of 1 bar on the surface, which means that your lungs are 50% of the volume on the surface. If you go deeper, at 20 meters, you have 3 bar, and at 30 meters, you have 4 bar. That means that at 30 meters, the volume of your lungs is 25%. If you go deeper than 30 meters, they will get smaller and smaller, but eventually it's going to stop, because they cannot go to 0%, because then your lungs would vanish and the structure of your lungs would just simply get damaged. So there is a physiological adaptation called the blood shift, which is part of the mammalian diving reflex that kicks in, and that basically forms a cushion of blood around your lungs. That is not really what happens. It's more like the alveoli that fill up with blood. But to give a visual, easy to understand explanation, let's visualize this as a cushion of blood that forms around the lungs and that protects your lungs from getting any smaller. When that happens, that is what we call residual volume. And from that moment on, you cannot get air out of your lungs anymore, which means that your equalization would come to an end. Now, the more flexible you are, the more trained you are, the deeper you can take this, because some people deeper than 40 meters, they can still get air out of their lungs. There is also a technique called reverse packing. Now, this is all advanced, so I do not want you to try this, but it's good to know that these are techniques that can be used when you're a more experienced freediver. So we call this a reverse packing, and that means that when you go deeper than residual volume, so let's say you go deeper than 30, 40 meters, you can, by creating a negative pressure, still get air out of your lungs. Because when I say, okay, at residual volume, you cannot get any air out of your lungs anymore, that doesn't mean that there isn't any air anymore. There is still some air in, and that is exactly what we call the residual volume. So residual volume does not mean empty lungs. That's what people say, but in reality, it is not empty. There is still a bit of air in your lungs. And when you apply a technique that creates a negative pressure here, is a suction effect, a vacuum effect, then it's going to get air from your lungs towards your mouth a little bit. And with that little bit of air, you can make one equalization. And then you can do a reverse pack again and make again a little equalization. So it's always reverse pack, equalize, reverse pack, equalize. And some people who have experience for many years and who have trained their body and their lungs and are super flexible here, they can go to 70, 80, 90. There are even divers that go to 100 meters without using mouthfill and just using normal Frenzel, using reverse packing, of course. Now, that is super super advanced. It takes years for your body to adapt to this. I think I can do something like 50 something. I think like a couple of weeks ago, I did 52 with a mask and without mouthfill. Now, with mouthfill, I can, of course, go deeper.
Guys, if you're enjoying this video so far, you could tremendously help me by smashing that like button. And while you're at it, consider subscribing and hit the notification bell.
Back to the topic of mouthfill. So basically, to dive deeper than we physically actually can, so when we cannot get any air up from the lungs anymore, that would stop equalization around 30, 40 meters. But when we use the mouthfill, we can actually go deeper. So what do we do? Around 20 meters, we're going to charge the cheeks. So we're going to get air into the mouth. So your cheeks get blown up because there is air in here. And with all that air that is in here, that air we are going to use to equalize. So that means that starting from 20, we do not need to get any air from the lungs anymore. So this issue of residual volume around 30, 40 meters is not an issue anymore, because you took the air at 20 meters, and with that air, you're going as deep as you can. You can go to 60, 70, 80 meters with this air. And how do you charge your mouth? There's many ways. Basically, you just have to get air from your lungs into your mouth But the technique that is taught a lot is the technique, the N-M. So when you do the N sound, you're getting air into your sinuses, because the sinus needs to be full of air as well. And then would put air in here. So basically it's N-M. And then you have a mouthful of air. Now, just because you have air in your cheeks, that doesn't mean that you're going to be able to equalize, because this takes months and months to master this technique, of course. And I mean, even at an advanced level, you're still tweaking everything. So this is like a crash course in mouthfill, but of course it takes a long time. So the biggest problem in doing this is that you will have so much pressure in here that everything will be locked up. Now, what do you need to equalize? Something here needs to be open, besides the eustachian tubes. If it's closed, you can't equalize. If it's open, you can equalize. What is it? We have something here in the back of our mouth that can be open or closed. The soft palate.
Okay.
The soft palate. So the soft palate, if you put your thumb in your mouth here, it's hard. This is the hard palate. The more you go backwards, you will feel that it gets soft. That's the soft palate. Okay? If this soft palate is closed, then the air that comes from your mouth cannot go towards your nasal cavity. And if it doesn't get here, the back of your nasal cavity, then it cannot go into the eustachian tubes. So this is closed and this is open. And there are many exercises to create awareness about this. I don't know if you hear this, like...
Guys, if you want to be part of the live streams like you saw in this video, then please go to join.gertleroy.com and become a member of my channel. You can become a member as a freediver, an advanced freediver, or a master freediver, and depending on the level you choose, you will get different perks, but all of them will have access to the live streams. Back to the video.
So the soft palate is basically a piece of meat, and every time you open and close it, you can hear this. If you change breathing between mouth and nose, like nose, like let's say in one exhalation, you're going to alter between mouth, nose, mouth, nose in one exhalation. You can only do that if you open, close the soft palate. So when I exhale through the mouth, the soft palate is closed. When I exhale through the nose, the soft palate is open. When I exhale through the nose, the soft palate has to be open so the air can come from here towards there. When the soft palate is closed, the air can only go out through the mouth because it will be blocked to go through the nose. And this is awareness that we have to create to be able to equalize on the mouthfill. Because if the soft palate is closed, now it is closed. Because if it would be open, the air would escape through my nose. That's why we use a nose clip for deep diving when we do the mouthfill. Because, well, first of all, water would come in, but if you do not close the nose and you take a mouthfill, I cannot blow up my cheeks because while I'm charging, the air is already escaping through my nose. It's not filling up because the soft palate is open and the air escapes through the nose. Now I'm going to close the soft palate and immediately my mouth fills up because the soft palate is closed, so it cannot escape through the mouth, to the nose. When you use a nose clip, you have to open the soft palate so that the air can go towards nasal cavity and towards your eustachian tubes. And that is how we equalize on mouthfill.